Well, hello there, friends, and welcome once again to another edition of the 360 Experience podcast. My name is Tim Brahim, and I'm your host. And today I'll be bringing in a guest that is focused in the real estate space. He is a realtor, a very successful one, in fact, Dave Panozzo. And Dave is someone who has a very interesting past. He is an Army veteran. He had his own battles with alcohol and drugs and has now since gotten sober and has had quite a successful real estate career. And he and his wife have built a successful real estate team in the state of Arizona. He's also highly motivational, brings a tremendous amount of energy. I love where this conversation is going to go as it relates to the subject matter of personal accountability, being aware of the environment that you put yourself in and how it affects your mental state, who your friendship and peer group is. I think this is going to be applicable information to such a wide variety of professionals that are going to be listening to it. If you're a loan originator and you like this episode, I highly recommend that you forward it on to your realtor partners because they'll get some good ideas about selling of real estate. And if you're a subscriber to the show, thank you. Very much appreciate your subscribership. If you're not, please subscribe. Also, we have a new email address where we can take some of your feedback. So I want to offer this up and we'll put it in the show notes. 360 at theloanatlas.com. 360 at theloanatlas.com. And that's where you can share with us any suggestions of other guests that you might like to see us have on the show. We'll put that again in the show notes and give us feedback about the episode. I'm always looking to learn and grow and get better at what I do. If you think I missed a question I should have asked, let me hear it. This is how I'm going to learn and get better as a host. And if you like the episode, of course, forward it on to anybody that you know and give us a like on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts, etc. And without further ado, my friends, my conversation with Dave Panozzo and the 360 Experience. Dave, it's really a pleasure to meet you, and I'm really grateful that Josh Metal introduced us to each other, and I'm super excited to have this conversation with you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, Tim. This is going to be good.
So you have a really interesting history, right? I mean, you were in the Army, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. I want to kind of create a fusion of these different topics. So you've got the Army veteran, and thank you for your service. Then you have a highly successful real estate professional, over $100 million in real estate fundings. And now you are a lifestyle coach. And I find all three of those to be fascinating. So maybe tell us a little bit about the evolution, like how you started and what your success was in real estate, and then how that morphed into being a lifestyle coach.
Sure. Yeah, the military days, it's kind of crazy. We're a 4-generation military family. And so that kind of all happened by mistake. And I attempted college right after high school, and college wasn't for me. So backed out of college, dropped out, kind of was lost for about 6 to 8 months. And then I said, you know what? I got to be all I can be. That was back then when the Army ran those commercials. Be all you can be. I'm like, I'm going to be all I can be. And so I joined the military. That was probably the best thing that I could have done. If I had to do it all over again, that's one thing I would definitely go back and do, because it taught me discipline. It taught me discipline, accountability. Those were things that I needed as an individual. I came from a decent, family upbringing and stuff, nothing crazy, but I needed a foot in the ass. Okay. That's how I operate better. And so got in the military. That's where I met my wife. She was stationed on the same Air Force base as I was, which was crazy. One thing led to another. We got married. Fast forward, we both got out of the service, and that's when I got into sales. Started in 1992. I was a portrait salesman. And for your younger listeners, okay, that's back when there was film and a camera and you had to get it developed. And so I was the guy that would meet and greet you at a grocery store and try to sign you up for this free 10 by 13 portrait. And you could have up to 10 people in it, and it was only $5. And we're booking appointments for next Wednesday and Thursday. Are mornings or afternoons better for you? See, I remember it like yesterday. And so then what would happen is I'd pitch them they'd sign up, and then 2 weeks later, after the photo shoot, the film would be developed and they would come in for their free 10 by 13 portrait. Well, they would then meet my wife, who had this like three-wall setup with their freebie in the middle, but all these other photos. And then she would upsell them for a bigger package. And so that was our that was our first sales job, which was pretty awesome, to look back on that, because we were making decent money. And we just got out of the service, and I think our first year we made somewhere around $55,000, and we were like, oh my God, like this is unbelievable. And that's when the sales bug kind of bit us. And then from there, got into car sales and a lot of other different businesses. And that's kind of my journey. I've been through a lot of different scenarios of life and also sales that have kind of come to this point now in my life to where people don't realize it's all about people, how you make them feel, how you sound. And that's life, right? That's what people want. They want to be treated right. And nowadays we're in this crazy Amazon delivery in less than 6 hours, Uber Eats, all this stuff that's fast, fast, fast. And people need to realize, hey, it's okay. Let's slow down a little bit.
So the evolution ultimately results in real estate. Now, I want to spend some time there because there's a significant percentage of our listening audience that's in that field. But what I really want to reflect back on is something that you said about the Army and how it taught you about personal discipline and accountability. And these are, I think, incredibly important virtues that one must possess to be successful in most businesses, but specifically in sales, right? Like, because when you're in a sales oriented business, you're your own boss to a great degree. So it's not like you have somebody that's, requiring you to punch a time clock and watching over your shoulder all day long. So tell us a little bit about when you first started to get into real estate and how the subject matter of personal accountability and follow through and all of that played into it. And what would you say were some of the reasons as to why you had such significant success in real estate? And I'm throwing a lot at you here. I also want you to comment on what advice and wisdom you would give right now to mortgage professionals, real estate professionals in today's market on how to capitalize and create discipline and structure within their day to be able to find success.
All right, we're going to unpack that. Keep me on track because I'm going to go down 19 different rabbit holes, okay?
Go for it.
So my real estate journey started when my wife got her real estate license in 2002, okay? I was a sales guy, I was selling cars, I was a desk manager. She got her license and we were able to afford for me to basically bring in the money while she started her career. So she started in 2002. Well, 2002, 2008, boom, right? Crash, crazy. She thought she was going to have to go back to work. And here I am kind of reinventing myself because I got out of the car business, got sober. So to all my ex-car guys out there, you know what I'm talking about. I ended up getting sober. I'm reinventing myself. She got the opportunity to list bank-owned properties, okay? She didn't really know what that was back then. And it was kind of funny. This guy from Countrywide said, hey, do you want to list some bank-owned properties? She goes, well, what's that all about? Foreclosures. So her business took off. Now, if anyone has been around during that time, that was brutal. That was like really tough work. And I started to see what she was doing, putting systems, processes together, because she was a one-man band, really never had any assistants. She had a little part-time assistant, but no one, no team, no nothing. It was just her, and she worked her ass off. And so I started flipping homes. And see where I'm going with all this is that I've been around real estate, right? But I never wanted to get my license because she had hers. I'm like, hey, if you have your license, why should I get mine? After 14 years of her being in the business, it finally came to a point to where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get my license. And we're going to build a team. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. She's like, slow your roll. She goes, one thing at a time. And I'm like, no, let's think big. Let's go big. So I got my license. And After about a year and a half of being in the business, I'm starting to learn it. I'm starting to understand it. People, circumstances, the contract, all that stuff. And we started really doing well in the lead game. And so it got to a point to where we needed to bring on a couple extra people. And of course, I was in the car business, so I was in management. I kind of got a feel of it. So I just applied what I learned in the car business into real estate. Well, of course, you know, you have ups, downs, and all rounds, and you learn. I started getting into self-development, hired a systems coach to be able to help us with building systems. And I'm a big believer in coaching because it's important to have someone else hold you accountable, which that was one of my biggest lessons in the military was accountability, right? You have to be accountable and you have to have someone call you out when you're not being accountable. And so 2016 is when I first started. And then by 2017, we had a couple agents under our belt. And now we look back going, wow, now we have like 25 agents. We have multiple people that help us on the back end. And so now we're running a business. Now we're starting to get it. But we've gone through all sorts of stuff, the learning curves and things like that.
Let's go back to something you just said about you started to figure out the lead game. Okay. So I want your wisdom to be infused into this conversation real time. Like, what does it take to win in the lead game in your mind in today's market?
You have to be ruthless. Okay. Ruthless. Like, like you have to look at the lead game as like you're fighting for your life. Okay. And again, the home lights of this world, running Facebook ads, all the different lead sources out there. You pay to play. Some of them you don't have to pay. You pay when it closes, when you give them a 30-40% referral fee. But here's how we look at it. See, we're in this for the long game. And so we learned and cut our teeth on these leads. Prior to that, my wife was a solo agent. Her closing percentage was 98.7. Okay. I mean, she was dealing with family, friends, referrals, sphere deals, things like that. So when now all of a sudden you're flipped over here to the lead game, you're dealing with strangers. So what happens is that when you're dealing with a stranger, you have to figure out how to shorten that gap with building rapport and letting them know who you are and what you know and what their situation is. And so we went through probably 6 to 12 months of just beating our head against the ground and trying to figure that out. Once we figured it out, then we were off and running. And see, a lot of times agents or lenders, I guess, with some of these referral systems out there, they're like, oh, well, they're taking 30-40% of my commissions and blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, who cares? I'd rather have a little bit of something than nothing. Because we've been in the game for so long, now what we're starting to see are those first-time home buyers who now have been in their house for 3-4 years. They're coming back around, wanting to sell it, wanting to purchase. Well, guess what? We're past the referral fee timeline because most lead services will have a 2 or 3 year, if that client does anything after you sell them a house, you still owe them a referral fee. Well, now we're dealing with clean money. Now we're dealing with no referral fees, no nothing, because we've catered to these people over the years. We've stayed in front of them. We've invited them to, our client parties. We always send them emails. We're a high touch point at all times. So now what we had to give up at the beginning is now coming back to us tenfold, which is a pretty cool feeling, playing the long game. Okay.
Yeah. So when I first started in the mortgage business, I did the reverse. So I started in the quote unquote lead game with a lot of consumer direct marketing and then built myself to a place where I no longer needed to do that because I had a large enough database of past clients who I'd done a great job for to where everything was referral based. But yeah, what you mentioned that is so vitally important that I want to make sure that we're hitting on here is it was not a matter of if, it was only a matter of when you would figure it out. And yes, absolutely, there is a vast difference between having your business come to you vis-a-vis some form of consumer direct marketing versus a referral from someone else. And it's the real salesperson that can figure out the presentation that is tight, value driven, and compelling to a stranger. And that has them going, wow, I'm interested in you. I just learned something from you. You sound like you really know what you're talking about. I see your value versus the commodity that is the Zillows or the in the mortgage business, the fintech lenders or the companies that work for very little. So let's talk a little bit about that in a second, which is what were some of the things that you figured out that needed to be a part of that presentation to grab the person's interest. But before we do, what would you consider to be in today's market the best sources for lead generation in this consumer direct type model? Is it Zillow leads? Is it like, you mentioned Facebook. Like, what are your go-tos? Where do you think there is the most bang for the buck, where you get the best quality of leads for as little spend as possible at the end of the day?
That's such a loaded question. Come on. Here's the thing. Okay. We just went through and did some updating on our CRM, and we were kind of cleaning things up, just doing what we typically do, right? I think there's probably close to 30 some different outside sources that we deal with. Okay? Some of these guys and gals that we've been getting deals from in the past, maybe little onesie twosie leads, okay? That aren't converting. Like HomeLight, we were knee deep in HomeLight when they first came to Arizona, and HomeLight was almost 40% of our business. And so we had to get diversified. I can name off, a half dozen lead sources, but here's the thing. Everybody wants leads, but they want the good ones. And when agents say that, that tells me a lot about them. Because right now, agents don't know how to communicate with leads. They go straight for the throat. And that's the biggest thing that I see. If you're going to play in this lead game and you've never done it before, it's going to be hard, right? Like anything. And so going through that learning curve of the different ways, and let me back into this, the mindset of these people that are doing the leads, they're clicking on every Tom, Dick, and Harry website known to mankind. So if a consumer clicks on 5 different people's websites, they're having 5 different agents call them. If the agent doesn't get through, they have 5 ISAs calling. They're getting dripped. They're getting AI to death. The consumer then gets just smashed with an overflow of information. So what we find is that the long-term drips, the relentless follow-up is that's when the magic happens. Okay. And so what we're finding is, and I'm hard on my agents, like we just had some success stories the other day from a couple of deals that went under contract. And I'm like, all right, tell me, when did you first make contact with them? 7 months ago, 8 months ago. Someone said 9 months ago. See, it's the follow-up. Everyone thinks the lead's coming in and they're going to get a paycheck in 30 to 45 days. That's not the case, because everybody is somewhere in that pipeline, whether they're just thinking about maybe buying or they're maybe just thinking about selling. That doesn't mean that it's going to happen today. And then when it doesn't happen today, the agent gets crapped out and they don't follow up.
It's the same exact thing in mortgages. I've been coaching mortgage professionals for over 15 years now. And whenever any of my clients decide that they want to go into the consumer direct model in some way, I always try to prep them mentally and emotionally. I mean, I used to refer to myself as a professionally persistent pain in the ass. Like that was my role as
Yeah.
you're in my database. I'm going to, in a very professional way, continue to follow up with you and educate you until you tell me, don't call me anymore. Until you tell me, don't call me anymore, I'm going to keep calling you. I'm going to wear you down and I'm going to display to you over and over again that I am truly interested in a long-term relationship. But, as Napoleon Hill said in Think and Grow Rich, most people find that success lies just beyond the point where everyone else gives up. And the thing is, in the real estate and mortgage business, people that try to get into the lead game, as we're calling it here in this conversation, they just want immediate gratification. And if they don't get it, then they're kind of stomping their feet and they're angry about it and they're pissy about it. Instead of saying, whoa, wait, let's slow down for a minute here and let's ask ourselves a question. And I kind of call this empathic selling. Like, let's put ourselves, empathy is to put ourselves in the shoes of the other. So you just did a wonderful job of that. I'm going to put myself in the shoes of this person that I'm interacting with. They've got AI following up with them. They've got 5 other lenders that are following up with them. Like, let's slow it down and ask ourselves a question, why me? Like, why would they go with me? What's going to make me different? So I love that we're taking this conversation here. I had no idea it was going to go here. And before we hit record, I said, where it goes, right? So we're in the sweet spot. So what does that long-term drip look like? Your 7-month, your 8-month, your 9-month success stories. Like, what's the cadence? What are they sending? What medium are they using to send it? Is it handwritten note cards? Is it a video? Is it all of the above? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, not a lot of, some of the agents will send out a little postcard or something, but not a lot of people do video. I think it's, and this is going to sound cheesy, but it's just treating someone like a human being. Like, if we're having a conversation and, for example, today, your power went out. So maybe the next time I call you, I'll be like, hey, Tim, man, how's it going? Hey, has your power gone off a couple more times since we last spoke? Like, I'm bringing in stuff from the past to make it a human conversation, not, hey, Tim, you ready to buy the 3-bedroom, 2-bath, HOA, no HOA, pool, community pool, all that stuff. And that's what I find most agents do. So we're very big on the notes in our CRM that if you're having a conversation with Tim and he mentions something about going on vacation or, grandson just had a baby or whatever the case may be, put those notes in there. So the next time you touch base with them, you can bring that up. Now all of a sudden you're making it a human connection versus a sales connection. And I think that that's the piece we need to step back a little bit. Give these people some grace, for God's sake. Like, we are in such a fast society. Even myself, like, I love going fast. But son of a bitch, how many times have you heard people bitch about, Amazon said it should be here before 4:00. Well, you just ordered it 3 hours ago. Will you relax? So now all of a sudden, with the tempo of the game, now all of a sudden someone wants to buy or sell a house. Well, that doesn't happen overnight. That doesn't happen overnight. I don't care how good you are, how fast you are. It's literally impossible. But as agents, we get caught up in all the rhetoric. Now we make our clients feel like it could go fast, but it doesn't. So now all of a sudden, as the agent, we have set the expectation high that this is going to be a fast, easy process. And then when it doesn't, what happens? Tim, you told me this was going to be a fast, easy process. Well, you just set yourself up at the beginning. So the tempo, what you say, how you say it, how you make people feel is so important in today's world. And guess what? If you've said it once, you have to say it maybe 2 or 3 other times. For anyone that has a child out there or children, do you tell them clean your room once and they do it? No. Now all of a sudden you're bringing big dollars. These are some of the people's biggest assets. And when people buy things, they get a little wacky. Like, everyone's cool, calm, collected, but then all of a sudden it's time to make the offer, or it's time to look at an offer that was received on your home that you're selling. Everyone gets super righteous and they they go into this other type of person, it's because money's on the table. And not everyone's good with their finances. Not everyone's, put it this way. These people are only buying one home or selling one home every couple of years, 3 or 4 or 5 years. We do this stuff on a daily basis, so it's not a big deal. And sometimes we forget to keep our clients in the loop as far as what the process looks like. What's the next steps? We just want to shove paperwork in front of them, sign it so that you can get paid in 30, 45 days. Doesn't work that way.
Yeah. So the interesting thing is that, like, I just to rewind for a second on something you said, I think that everybody that's listening, whether you're a realtor or a mortgage professional, needs to check your agenda. Like, what is your agenda? Are you making it about you, or are you making it about the other person that you are trying to procure as a relationship-based customer? So I have loan originators say to me all the time, I'll ask them the question, like, how frequently do you call the people in your past client database? And they'll say, well, there's just really nothing to talk to them about now. They're all at 0.75%, 2 7/8%. Oh, okay, I get it. Yeah, no, you're right. There is nothing to talk to them about because you're making it about you. See, then there is no reason to call them if it's all about you trying to make a sale. But what if it was about them? What if you just I have a philosophy, and I think it applies to real estate as well. By the way, I've been saying this for 30 years. The loan officer with the most friends wins. Period. Simple formula. I would imagine it's the same with the realtor. The realtor with the most friends wins. So what if that were your metrics, your measuring stick, which is how many people do I talk to every week that I put a smile on their face? How many people do I talk to every week that I actually give them some value without any agenda of my own, without expecting anything in return? Why don't you try that out for about 6 months and see what happens? I guarantee you what will happen is you'll have advocates out there, people who really think highly of you and are appreciative of you, and that's where loyalty is built. So just to frame this up for the next question, so you've got these various sources of referral business, roughly 30 different places that business comes from, including social media platforms. And then you have, I think you said, roughly 25 agents. So what kind of volume are you guys doing? Like, how many buy side and sell side transactions are you guys doing on an annualized basis with your team?
Yeah, we consistently over the last 3 years, we've done over 100 million in volume. Okay. We keep scratching that surface. Okay. I kind of liked last year because we did half the units, but almost the same volume as we did the year before, which was close to, like, I don't know, I think it was like 230 units. We did half of what we did, which I'm okay with that. Okay. But more is always better, right? So that was an interesting twist because obviously last year the market was very, very funky. Okay. That was, it was a cage match pretty much every day, right? Two guys go into the cage, one guy walks out. And so that's been the same tempo for this year. I find right now the person that has the most endurance will win this game. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're getting nervous that you're down to, the last $5,000 in your bank account and you have mortgages coming up, car payment coming up, and you have nothing in your pipeline, there it is right there. Okay. You got to remember, Kim and I lost everything in '08. We got taken out by the knees. And I told my wife that we would never, ever have that happen again. So by having that mindset, we've always put ourselves in a position to where if it's up, it's up. When it's down, it's down. It doesn't matter because it's all going to even out in the end. And so the agents that are out there are the lenders that are squeaking by, barely making it month to month. It's hard for them to look at the long game because they're trying to make a buck to cover their monthly nut. Because let's face it, everyone was living high in the hog a few years back. The big car payments, the new house, the this, the that. Now all of a sudden, they got their expenses up here. Sales are down here. Doesn't work that way. And so now that's something that's been you almost like self-sabotage yourself, right? And so then all of a sudden, now it's all about the money. You put the money ahead of the client, it never works. Yeah, you might get a couple deals here and there, but are you truly doing it for all the right reasons? Or are you just trying to close a deal to get some money to make sure you don't miss your car payment again? And I'm starting to see some of that what we call in the business commission breath. It's pretty nasty right now. And I think this next little phase that we're going through, and again, everyone's always asking, oh, when do you think it's gonna, loosen up? I don't really care because we're still selling right now. Is it sexy? No. Are we selling? Yes. Are we helping buyers? Yes. You just have to do more work. So it's that intestinal fortitude. It's like going for a run or going for a hike and you're like, "Oh man, I'm kind of winded. Man, I got to keep going. I got to keep going." Don't quit on yourself because right now it's the biggest battle of you versus you going on right now that I see out there. And
So
that's the interesting part.
let's dive into that. So the battle between our ears is what I
Yeah.
refer to it as, right? So like there's a storyteller in all of us, and that storyteller in tough times like this can be very sabotaging. And
Yes.
the narrative that can run in the background could be very limiting in terms of our capabilities. How do you coach yourself, and or do you have a coach that coaches you in this capacity? And how do you coach your realtors that you represent to have the right mindset? What are the disciplines in today's market for a real estate agent or a lender to maybe bring into their day, the repetitive routines, if you will, that can help them with that battle between their ears?
Well, I think it starts number one when you first get up in the morning. If you don't drop to your knees and thank God for being alive, that's a tough one, right? So it's all up to him, right? So I give him praise first thing in the morning. I don't look at this thing, okay? The cell phone. I don't look at that until an hour and a half after I've awakened in the morning because there's absolutely nothing in here of importance that needs my attention first thing in the morning. So my wife and I have a very strict morning ritual, right? Get up, make the bed, we do our journaling, we do our readings. Like we put in the work up front first thing in the morning, and then we go work out. That's our morning setup. Now, if you're waking up late, you're hitting the snooze button, not making your bed, and you're kind of having just a mopey Joe morning, guess what? The odds are you're going to have a mopey, jopey day. Okay. Um, it's kind of like if you hit your toe on the end of the bed, you're like, oh, it's going to be one of those kind of days. Ugh. Well, guess what? That's how you're starting your day off. It will be one of those days. So I try to stack the deck as much as I can up front to make sure that I have multiple wins going on first thing in the morning. Yeah, making your bed. I was in the military. I had to make my bed. I still do it to this very day. Okay. I tell my wife, listen, we're not going to put all the pillows on the bed. Okay. But we're going to do some of them so you can have your little decorative vibe to it, but I feel like I'm a freaking UPS guy delivering packages with all the different pillows, throwing them on the bed. But anyway, you got to stack the day with wins. We've got enough stuff coming at us as it is. So I probably have by 8 o'clock, I would say I probably have about 10 to 15 small wins. 8 o'clock, I am in game mode every single day, including the weekends. I do not give myself reprieve on the weekends because guess what? When you give yourself a little bit of wiggle room, we abuse it. So I want to stay consistent throughout the week. Now, here's the thing. Some people,
You work on the weekends, or you
yeah,
just
I mean, we're always working, not physically in an office, but I'm always fully active. I'm always looking for the next deal. I'm always looking for the next deal, whether it be a real estate client or a team player, whatever it may be. I'm always in the hunt because we don't know when our time is up. I want to make as big of impact as possible in helping other people. And so that's just how I roll. And here's the thing, like a lot of people are like, oh, Dave, that's, that sounds like a lot of work. Yeah, yeah, it is a lot of work. But I remember what it was like when we didn't have money and how that felt. Like that's the worst feeling in the world. When we lost everything and we were just barely making ends meet, we were down to our last couple $1,000. Like that sucked. I never want that feeling. So I'm gonna stay in the chase. Like I'm gonna keep going. And here's the thing, like I need to be the leader of my family. Okay. Like a lot of men need to step up in today's world. They're a little watered down right now. I want my family to be proud of me, number one. I need to be the leader of our family. I need to set the tone so that my son-in-laws know what it's like to be the leader of the family. And I also have grandchildren, so I need them to see what a grandfather is all about. And so we're in a day and age right now where everyone's just kind of like, I don't want to ruffle any feathers. I don't want to. I don't care anymore.
So I love so much of what you're saying. I mean, I love to hear that you stack your mornings with wins. You know, that morning routine is so incredibly important. You know, you mentioned earlier that you're sober. That
Yep.
makes it easier to have an effective morning routine, by the way, everybody listening. It's really tough when you're knocking down a couple of cocktails late at night to get up and
Yep.
have a great morning because you're hungover. So you got to really think through your priorities. Like, what time you go to bed, what time you wake. Are you giving yourself enough time in the morning before the world turns on and comes at you to build momentum? Because I think that's what you're really talking about here. Is that every morning it feels to me, based upon what you described, is by the time you turn the world on, you have momentum. You have wind at your sails, right? Like that's like there's stuff that's happened already that's good stuff. So what about, like, you're a lifestyle coach? I want to go there. I want to know what that means, first of all. And then secondly is, like, what about the person that doesn't have the purpose that you're describing? I mean, you just gave us your purpose statement. I didn't need to ask for it, which is like, I want to impact people's lives. I want to set an example for my son-in-laws. I want to set an example as a grandfather. I want to lead my family. What about the person that feels like, I don't have that juice, man? Like, I wake up and I kind of phone it in, and like some days are good and some days are not. So tell us about a lifestyle coach, and then how do you coach somebody that maybe is in that funk that they struggle with?
Well, in lifestyle coach, it's more on the real estate side of things, but there's so much more to it than, whether you want to call it lifestyle coach or however you want to say it. Here's the thing, like everyone wants the big badass life. Okay? A majority of people, right? Because they all get hung up on comparing themselves on social media and whatnot. And they want to do big business, but their lives are in shambles. They're overweight. Maybe their relationship with their spouse isn't the best. The kids really don't talk to them. They're doing okay at work. No one respects them at work. All these things add up. So they come somewhat broken at that point. And I used to be one of those people, okay? I know what that's like. Some people don't have the awareness that that's the cycle that they're caught in. And so I think sometimes when you break it all down, they're like, oh, I need, I need, I need the verbiage on how to close this type of client. I need the verbiage on, this isn't 3 easy hacks to close deals. Okay. We're talking life. We're talking every day, every minute, because everyone wants to do all this fancy stuff so everyone can see how great they are, but it's really what they do when no one is looking. See, you got to look at it like this. If there was a camera following you around all day long, would your family be proud of your actions of what you're doing?
That's a beautiful question.
Okay. Hey, honey, how's work today? Oh, it sucked. These clients and, these people and my boss and blah, blah, blah. Well, the camera caught that you were on TikTok for 2.5 hours during the workday. Would your family be proud? Are you setting the example to your children of what it takes to push forward and do whatever you have to do in order to make a commission? Or would they follow you? Or would that camera see you at a happy hour shooting the shit with some other people and you're talking bad about other people or talking bad about the industry and being negative? Like, it's what you do when no one's looking. Because everyone wants to say this, oh, look at me, all this fancy stuff. And then all of a sudden, behind closed doors, there's somebody else. That's being fake. You're being a fake person. So guess what? You're going to get fake results. And then they want to wonder, well, I don't know why things aren't going good. Well, go look in the mirror. It's you against you. And guess what? None of that stuff that I just talked about, none of this costs money to do. It's literally you against you. There's no special apps. There's no AI involved. It's literally you. And I think that that's the hardest part that people have. I get passionate about it because I have 25 agents on my team and I hear it all, right? And sometimes people just, again, if you're not in the right circle, if you're not in the right circle of influence, oh my God. I used to run around with the wrong people and I wondered why my life sucked. Whether it's family, friends, whatever it may be, if those people aren't propping you up and supporting you, why are they your friend? Because then you come over here on my side of the fence, I'm going to love on you. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to pump you up. I'm going to train you. I'm going to get you focused. But then you go home or you go around a certain group of friends and they start chiseling away because they don't want to see the new you emerge. They want to keep, your friends and family want you to stay the same. And it's sad to me. I have closer business friends than I am with my family, but that's okay. Outside family, my daughters, we're tight. My daughters and I, we run a tight ship. So,
well, our families in many cases are put into our lives to trigger us and to teach us lessons, so we can learn and grow and become better who we are. And I think that the point that you're making, there's a couple of things that I'm hearing here that are really important. Number one is, be very vigilant with the community that you're surrounding yourself with and get really good at asking yourself the question of like, hey, is this person in my life lifting me up or are they bringing me down? And what's in it for me? Like, why am I drawn to relationships that might not be functional ultimately at the end of the day? The other thing that I heard you say, though, you didn't use the word victim, but I want to unpack it a little bit because you described a classic victim archetype, the person who's blaming others, talking poorly behind people's backs, always at the effect of the outside world and outside forces rather than taking personal responsibility for their experience and like really looking inward and realizing, hey, the real relationship that I'm having here is with me. And, right. And that's the one I got to get right first. So with that said, is there anything more that you would add to that? Like, how does one, or, you have a phrase actually I remember reading, I believe.
Hey, can you hold on one second? Because you caught me off guard when we got back on. I should have gone to the bathroom. Can we hang tight for 2 seconds?
No problem. No problem.
All right, hold on.
Out of curiosity, why do you think it is that some originators are sitting around with empty pipelines while others are having some of their best months ever in their careers? Well, as a coach and faculty member inside of the Loan Atlas, it is abundantly clear to me that one type of originator is armed with the information, the inspiration, and the implementation coaching they need to ensure 2025 is more successful than 2024. If you're ready to turn your goals into reality, the Loan Atlas is here to help. Click on the link in the description to schedule your complimentary success consultation now.
So I hope that you enjoyed that commercial message from our sponsor, and I hope, Dave, that you have an empty bladder now and you can stay present with me. So I remember reading, I hope I don't botch this, a phrase that you have said time and again, which is basically converting pain into power, and that's kind of a recurring theme or a recurring message. Tell us a little bit about that, because the thing is that what you're describing is a situation with someone who is, downtrodden or a victim, and they're complaining about the outside world. I mean, they're in pain. Let's make no mistake about it. I mean, when you're at the effect of, it's not a happy experience. What does this phrase "pain into power" mean to you? Tell us a little bit about it. Maybe give us an example.
Well, here's the thing. We have grown up now in a society to where we have been told if it doesn't feel right, don't do it. Okay? And I beg to differ on that. Because I always tell people, if you buy into that, try brushing your teeth tonight with the opposite hand and tell me what happens. It's going to feel weird. It's not going to feel right, but you're still going to get your teeth brushed. Okay. And when you are in business, especially sales, it's not easy. So you end up getting your feelings hurt. You end up getting frustrated. You end up listening to other people that you shouldn't listen to. Then what happens is you start to kind of go backwards. You might watch the news. You might do some scrolling on social media. Then all of a sudden, it becomes okay to become a victim. And really, you have the power to be able to change that. Everyone goes through certain things. It's if you buy into it, then it's going to get you. Because it's that old version of yourself that is trying to fight this new version. And some days it feels really good. Other days you're like, I just want to go back to the old ways. And if you're looking to grow, it's hard, number one, right? And like we were saying earlier, you have to be around the right people. You have to be around the right people. Well, what do you mean, Dave? Like, my family, my friends. Well, what would happen? What would happen if your family and friends weren't around and you could just work on yourself? What would that look like? Would you be dependent upon them? Or would you rise to a new level in making other friends? And so I think that that's what it really comes down to. It's how you're going to look at this bigger picture. If you don't want to push yourself and go to that next level, then you can't complain. You can't complain. You can't bitch about not getting the sales. Then be okay with being okay. But if you want something better, then that's when you're going to have to break it down and really take a look at your life and what you're doing on a daily basis, who you're surrounding yourself, what you believe in. Are you out of shape, in shape? Are you drinking? Are you eating fast food? Is your car dirty? Like, all these things start to add up. And this has been years of me going through all this going, oh my God, it's that. Let me keep doing it. Wow, my life's getting a little better. Oh, let me add this. Oh, life's getting even better. And I think it's the work, Tim. I really do. I think because it's something that isn't like tangible, like you go to a job to make money, right? Okay, I get that. But these other things outside of that, people are like, oh, that's just hype. That's just a bunch of voodoo, witchery, blah, blah, blah. No, it's all of it. Because if you want the big life, you got to go after all of it.
Yeah, it's not my partner in business who's been a coach with me for 14 years. Her name is Julie Wykes. She often says this phrase that I think is very applicable to what you're talking about. How you do one thing is how you do everything. It's like, so even the act of making your bed, or the act of having a clean car, it's if your car is dirty, you don't make your bed, then you're going to run also a messy business life too. I mean, you just don't have impeccability when it comes to buttoning things up and dotting the I's and crossing the T's, which are all the things that ultimately matter and get you to where you want to be. You referenced earlier getting up in the morning, journaling and reading. What's the first book that pops to mind that kind of punched you right in the face and helped you get your act in order?
Ooh. It's a good one. There's a couple of them. So let me go back just a minute. So 2014 was a super difficult year. I was on another let's reinvent Dave Panozzo type mind thing, and I was going through some stuff, and I was really crapped out. And I'm like, I'm gonna start journaling. I'm gonna journal my journey of being crapped out. Super crazy, right? Everyone wants to journal about all the cool stuff. I was like, I'm going to journal on how screwed up I was. My first, and I have this journal. I keep it at home in a safe because it's gold. Okay. Um, but my first half dozen to probably 10 entries, Monday, October 14th, 8:32 a.m. What the hell is wrong with you? Why can't you get up? Next day, failed again, 9:30 a.m. I was probably clinically depressed, but I didn't know it. But anyway, I soldiered on. But I couldn't figure out why I couldn't get my snap, couldn't get going. And so I started taking accountability to me and pouring into this thing to where now I can go back and go, oh yeah, I wasn't super disciplined. I wasn't this. I wasn't, I was loose, right? I remember reading Grant Cardone's 10X. That triggered something. That triggered something for me because he talked about being obsessed. Well, I'm an ex-alcoholic addict, right? I get a little obsessed on stuff. And I started to realize it's okay. It's okay to be obsessed. Use that to your advantage. Use what people say is a negative, but use it to your advantage. And that started to really click. And I was like, wow, that's kind of interesting. Never looked at it like that. So that was a book that definitely triggered me for sure.
I think that that's a really interesting place that you just took this. I find that most successful people in the material world, let's start there, have an obsessive personality. I fall in that category. I can get really locked in and be a perfectionist and demand, greatness and those types of things of myself. Obviously, there's a blind spot to that, which is that it can drive you into massive imbalance in your life, not giving yourself enough grace, those types of things. But it's that obsessiveness that is truly the gift, to your point, if channeled to the right places. Like being obsessive about loving your family. That's never going to be a bad thing. Being obsessive about serving your creator, that's never going to be a bad thing. You just need to get super real with, is this obsession towards the wrong thing, like drugs and alcohol or, pornography or overwork, yes, or whatever the case may be. But it's a gift if you can channel it to the right place. Now, the thing that we're talking about earlier, getting your life right and picking and choosing the people that you spend your time with. I was thinking about that just a moment ago, and I was thinking that's an act of bravery that's required. We can't skip past that. Like to say to somebody like, hey, look, the social circle that you're hanging out with isn't functional for you. It's not taking you to the next level. You really need to shed some of those relationships and create new ones. That takes bravery because what's up against, well, shit, then am I going to be lonely? Am I not going to have any friends? Am I going to be able to make new friends? Will I be accepted by a new peer group? I think that that's noteworthy. Do you have any feedback on that? Because it sounds like you've up-leveled your game numerous times in your life. Would you agree that it took some bravery to say, no, I'm going to require more of myself and expect more of myself?
Yeah, it bravery, but I'd say the lonely piece, because again, high school, your younger years, hey buddy, let's go hang out. You kind of hold on to that until your late 20s, 30s, right? And then of course, some adults take it to the next level. They're still doing girls trips and boys trips and all that kind of stuff, right? Well, obviously getting sober at 38, I realized that that wasn't the right crowd. So when I got sober, I cut the world out. There was only a handful of family members. Other than that, I was completely by myself in that sense. Okay, my wife still stayed with me. Like, there's a lot of positives that came out of that. But as far as the friend circle, completely wiped out. And I've noticed over the different levels that I've gone through in life, it's like there's just some people that shouldn't be in your life. And that's okay. Like, I don't need everyone to like me because I know who I am and I'm authentic and I am fine with that. And I think so many times people try to people please or, you know, be that person that gets along with everybody else and so on and so forth. And really it's holding you back from some major growth. And, I was talking to my wife the other day and I read something and it's like, I don't know if you won a trip around the world in a Learjet, you could bring 10 couples, your closest couples, who would you bring? And my wife and I, we looked at each other, we're like, we don't have any of those kind of friends. We have business people that we engage with, or some people that maybe from the past, we just don't do that kind of stuff. And I go, well, you know what? It'd be kind of cool just me and you go around the world. You know what I mean? Like, we're okay with that. But some people need that to feel, I don't know, accepted or something. I don't really care anymore about that stuff. Because here's the thing. They're going to laugh at you if you stay the same. They're going to laugh at you if you succeed. I'll take the succeed part and they can laugh at me then.
Well, I also want to reflect to you that I would imagine it took a tremendous amount of bravery to get sober. I mean, I don't think that underestimated, and I applaud you for that. And I'm sure
we could do a 2-hour session on that one.
Well, let's wrap with the final question that I'd like to ask you, which is if you could turn back the clock, especially since you've had such an interesting life that's gone through many chapters, I want to take you back to your 18-year-old self, and you're having a conversation with that younger version of you as the older version of you right now. What advice would you give to your 18-year-old self if you could in retrospect?
Quit drinking, quit doing drugs, and hang around the right people. And don't listen to everything your parents have to tell you.
Yeah, that's the exclamation point. The unfortunate fact is that we're both fathers, and that also includes us. Don't listen to everything that we have to tell our kids too, right?
Yeah.
Right on. It was really a pleasure to spend time with you. Thank you so much. How can people get a hold of you if they'd like to find out more?
Yeah, I'll flip my couple different ways. You can Google the Panozzo team. You can find me on IG, the Panozzo team, or I'll throw out my cell phone if you want to give me a buzz. I'm always open to talk to people. 480-785-6990.
We'll put all that in the show notes as well.
Perfect.
Dave, thank you so very much. Blessings.
Absolutely.
I wish you nothing but success, and I really appreciate your time today.
Oh, thank you, Tim. Appreciate you.
Bye-bye.